deep down, I actually want to be an architect. I did study Graph Com up to A level, and then I was going to go to Kent Institute of Art and Design, either do fashion or do architecture. And then you know what happens? Your life gets ruined, you get married, and
I
it
think
goes
life's
downhill
all
from
right.
there.
I got married and everything's fine, yeah. So
If you've got male perspective, you want to ask her. I bet she'll say what I'm saying.
no. I wasn't ready for that.
Taking away faith, whether it's Islam or Christianity, whichever. They're just taking it away from the scene. They're playing games with it, letting children decide all sorts of things, including whether they want to be a he or a she.
If it does get privatized, which
No, it's going that way. I spoke to a doctor when I was on holiday. She said it's already 50% gone.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah.
So that means we will get to see a doctor a lot quicker.
So not only will you pay your national insurance,
Yep.
but you will also pay for private medical insurance.
Which is fine.
Because you're going to pay both. And do you know why you're doing that? Because that pot of money that the national insurance goes into predominantly is spent on pension, because we're an aging population. And that element of benefit is about that much. The rest of it is going onto the pension, and they've spent it.
When you mention therapy or anxiety in Desi households, right?
Yes.
It's often brushed off by people
Not
saying,
just that,
look,
not Asians as well. Everyone. I'm having therapy right now.
okay, let me finish my question. On this episode of Fitpod with Nasser, we're joined by Saira Hayati, a mother, an entrepreneur, and influencer who left the UK to start a new chapter in Malaysia. From challenging cultural norms to redefining modesty, family, and faith, Saira brings raw honesty and lived experience to the mic. We dive into marriage, migration, homeschooling, and everything in between. Buckle up, this one is unfiltered. Saira,
Hello.
thank you very much.
That was an intro and a half, that was.
Was it?
Is that me you're talking about?
Oh, I hope so.
I'll make it as entertaining as possible. I've got a great imagination. It's fine.
Good. Right, I'm going to need my tablets. Not those tablets, but
those ones. I won't tell anybody about those tablets, yeah?
I need to calm down.
Yeah.
I'm starstruck. Thank you. So, Saira, before we get into it, tell us a bit about yourself and, what's your background? So people who don't know you.
I'll keep it brief.
Yeah.
You've got to say that, Syra, keep it brief.
No, but we don't want to keep it brief. We've got about
like the intro bit, we're going to have to go. We want
hours.
to talk about something other than that, right? Let's say. So where was I? I don't even know where to begin. Background, what shall I say? Finance, property, banking. Obviously then this influencer world fell upon me. But entrepreneurship, I'd say that's where it was. I love creating business. Deep down, I actually want to be an architect. I did study Graph Com up to A level, and then I was going to go to Kent Institute of Art and Design, either do fashion or do architecture. And then you know what happens? Your life gets ruined, you get married, and it goes downhill
life's all
from
right.
there.
I got married and everything's fine, yeah. So
If you've got male perspective, you want to ask her. I bet she'll say what I'm saying.
no. I wasn't ready for that.
Oh, I'm tired.
So, what made you move to Malaysia out of all of the possible places?
All right, so I've already covered this off before, but I will tell you again. I mean, so many people think that I've come back, but I haven't. I'm here for a bit. I'm kind of calibrating, shall I say, because I like to maximize my time. So I'm going to do as much as I can here, and then come winter, I won't be here. I will say, never ever give up your passport. I did say previously once that I would, for the sake of getting the Malaysian one. Would I do it still? Probably not, because you know the whole thing about visas with a British passport, you go anywhere you like, can't you? So I think I'll keep it for that purpose. But I went to Malaysia and not any of the other countries because I'd already explored them. And I have no reason to be close to the UK. The 14 hours traveling time doesn't bother me.
Right. Yeah. I mean, once you're there, you're there.
I've got time.
Yeah.
I never used to have time, alhamdulillah, and I'm grateful to Allah for the time that I have now. Means that I can stop off on the way and go do Umrah en route, and then I go to Malaysia. But why did I go there over the others? You have to go there to see for yourself. When somebody said to me that Malaysia is like heaven, I wanted it summarized, one word. They said heaven. They weren't lying. And when I got there myself, within 3 days, I decided I'm buying a house here and I am going to live here. Whether I live there permanently, immediately, wasn't decided. But for sure, inshallah, I do see my retirement period if I do ever retire.
That's not anytime soon, so.
No, I don't think it's going to be ever. I hope to be bouncing around when I'm 90, you know.
Between Malaysia and UK.
Yeah, I'll be doing it. Yeah.
But,
So,
for so many South Asian people, UK is the place to go.
They're right. They are right. There's multiple reasons why the UK is beneficial. You know, there's lots of things that are great about it. But if you can balance between that and somewhere else, then you've made it. It's the perfect arrangement. But obviously, life, work, kids, depends where you are in your journey as to how you play it. So if you've got kids and you need schooling, then of course you're going to spend your time out in whichever country you choose for longer. And remember that nothing is forever.
Yeah.
So you do it for a year, do it for 2 years, do it for 5 years, do it for longer. Who knows? Allah knows that more than we do.
Yeah, and how does it balance with your Islamic values compared to the UK?
Hugely. So that's one of the reasons why. This isn't just, I want to retire to a sunny country. This is full-on hijrah. We're living in a period right now where there's a lot of things against us, right? So you need to be on top of your game. And if you want to make it easier for you and your future generations, then moving them to a country where what you're practicing isn't perceived negatively, which can cause confusion in your children as to which way they go, which shouldn't even be an option for our kids, right? Then taking them to ground them and grow them in a place that they're going to see it for its beauty, not its negativity. So that can be any Muslim country.
But don't you think that UK now is the place where a lot of people are accepting of who you are, regardless if you're a Muslim or whatever it is?
I think the people themselves are beautiful, majority of them. But the way that things are going, like not just in the UK, but in Europe, they're taking away faith, whether it's Islam or Christianity, whichever. They're just taking it away from the scene. They're playing games with it, letting children decide all sorts of things, including whether they want to be a he or a she. All of that comes into play. So where do you think religion's going to fall? There's no place for it in the society that they want. Eventually. But if we're Muslims, we want a nice lifestyle. We want simplicity, ease of being able to practice, because that's our primary purpose for being here on this planet, is that we worship first and everything else comes secondary.
Yeah.
And our parents came to this country to better their lives, better our lives, and in some ways they have bettered our lives, but we can utilize what they've given us and benefit our children even more.
Yeah, and move forward and make it better for our children. Yeah,
they can still have the best of both.
But what about the infrastructure now, especially with like the economic opportunities compared to UK and Malaysia? I mean, is it easier to grow in this country now, in the UK or Malaysia, in terms of business wise? And of course, NHS as well, health services, because you can't just move to a country because you like it. There's loads of countries that you can go to and you like them.
Yeah, you go on holiday and you go, I could live here, but then, there's holiday vibes that are giving you the feel. So the reason why Malaysia is, it's so similar to the UK. Everybody speaks English, the houses, the driving, the common law that they have, it all pairs almost the same, that you can step out of one and into the other, and they speak fluent English. They're very highly educated, and everybody's, even like, the waiters, coffee shops, they all speak English. So it's super easy for you to jump out of here and slot in over there. So NHS, medical, if the NHS is already on a slope to privatization. That's going to happen because they want to do that. We've lost. You can't see a doctor here, not with ease, and anyone with even any serious conditions is like on death row, basically waiting to be seen. So places like Malaysia, even Turkey and all the other countries I've been to, they have the government facility, they've got the private facility, and because you're saving money on taxes, you're saving money on expenditure, you can take out private medical insurance and you can have the luxury of private medical treatment, or you can go to the government hospitals and you can utilize those, and they are still better than the Malaysian than the NHS. Yeah.
But what's so bad about NHS being privatized?
It means that the poorer people won't have access to any medical treatment. I believe that's what it is.
Okay, so they need to work.
Not everybody can, though.
Why can't they?
Because you've got. I'm going to bring out the mental health card here.
Yeah.
Right, but it exists,
It
and
does.
Humanity first. This is not a case of survival of the fittest, survival of the strongest, because that's where we're going.
Okay, let me hold you there. There's genuine problems with people in life. Genuine, people are disabled who
physical,
who genuinely can't work. But then there are people who can do all of that and choose not to do it just so that they can have a...
They have to be filtered out.
Exactly.
They have to be. That doesn't mean that just because they exist, the ones that are making every other vulnerable person look like they aren't, that we should privatize our medical system. It's not
now NHS.
justification.
I'm very grateful for NHS because my father, he's disabled, and he's been a stroke patient for over 25 years, and the amount of benefits and ease of everything is, and I sometimes think, if we were in a different country, it would be totally different.
Yeah, of course. You wouldn't be compassionately cared for. And that's one of the beauties of the UK. They compassionately care for not just people but animals as well. And the value of life in other countries is nothing.
Yeah.
But it shouldn't be like that. And the trouble is, we're going to go down that way. We're going to have any value for life, and you're going to be valued based on
wouldn't
your
that want
social
people
status.
who can work, who choose not to work?
Yep. All right.
Make them work.
I agree with that. But I know that when the Conservatives came in and they brought all of that in to pull people up and out and get them to work, I agree with that. But they'll just have to find a better way of filtering those ones out and making it happen. Taking away the NHS isn't the way to do it. And you have got still whatever amount of people who are going to be vulnerable, and they're going to need it. So it's the risk of, it's not the risk, you stand to take that away from people that will need it. And that was the whole purpose of having this social system, that we would support one another and provide. But we all get to use it. It's not like we don't.
See, that the core aspect of it makes sense. You look after the vulnerable, and everyone else kind of chips in, even though it's not free. The taxpayers are
you're all paying
for
it,
right? It's not free. What I always say, and I believe it's this country now, UK, is great for people who are on benefits.
Is it though? Because I
for
think
them everything is free.
They
get paid, their rent's paid, their health is looked after. But the person who's working, they're the ones who are getting shafted.
There's social systems in every country. We're not the only ones. We get led to believe that we're great for it, but there's other countries as well, Germany, Norway. They've got great social systems. We're just led to believe that our social system is amazing, which it is. I'm not going to deny it. It's down to the people that organise those systems to ensure that it doesn't get exploited. And that's the problem.
That's the problem, yeah.
Look, when Europeans, they opened the gates, right? The Europeans came. You had Polish, Hungarian, Slovaks, Gypsies. Yep. Gypsies came. What did they do? Tax credits. rinsed the tax credits, and then moved back to Slovakia and other countries, wherever they came from, and they were receiving their benefits over there.
Wow.
Whose fault's that? It's not the people's fault.
Yeah.
We're the ones, we paid into a system. We're doing what we're told to do.
Yeah.
They're not making it work. And why aren't they making it work? What is it? We should be pulling them all up for the jobs that they haven't done and have been paid for.
Yeah. So how do we, if it does get privatized, which
No, it's going that way. I spoke to a doctor when I was on holiday. She said it's already 50% gone.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah.
So that means we will get to see a doctor a lot quicker.
So not only will you pay your national insurance,
Yep.
but you will also pay for private medical insurance.
Which is fine.
Because you're going to pay both. And do you know why you're doing that? Because that pot of money that the national insurance goes into predominantly is spent on pension, because we're an aging population. And that element of benefit is about that much. The rest of it is going onto the pension, and they've spent it. They've spent the pensions for us. So we won't get a state pension because they've already spent it. So now that's why the only way to recoup it is to get NHS privatised as an excuse, so that we still pay the national insurance and we pay for our medical to recoup that money they're going to give us a state pension.
Wow.
Oh, trust me, they're so deep when you look at it. I don't know enough because I don't get to study enough and research enough. But these are basics that I've learned along the way, talking to people that work in
the industry.
in local authorities. They tell me.
Wow.
Yeah. So my circle of friends can be people that have got insights, let's say, and we talk. And they're obviously straight from the horse's mouth, isn't it, really? I was told this a long time ago when they stripped up the whole housing benefit and they were taking benefits away from people. There was a pie chart. I've got a really good memory. Right? I remember all this stuff. It was about 15 years ago. There was a pie chart, and the actual pension element was well over, I would say, see, let me get the visuals kicking in. Probably it was under 50. So let's say 45% was state pension, but they've spent it.
Wow. So now they like...
Bet you any money, if you go to, obviously these stats have to be available. If you go to wherever to find the information about the national insurance, not the social pot that we pay our money into, I can't remember the name of it, you'll see that there's nothing left.
Wow.
There was nothing left a long time ago. Yeah.
It's funny how they just don't bring all of these. Like, what happens to these companies, right, who've now spent all of that money, but when I spend a penny from my business, taxman turns up like, oh, well, no, you can't do that.
They'll whip you now.
Can you tell me where
tech.
you...
Tech is on you. They'll find I was telling landlords a long time ago to make sure you declare. There's no point in not declaring, and get a bloody good accountant that can make sure that you utilise every allowance possible, and everything that, because some people they do their tax returns themselves, but they don't realise how much they can save as allowances or expenditure, and now. See,
that's Asians for you. Think, why am I going to pay him £200 to do a self-assessment or whatever, right? Where I can save that. But hang on, you might pay him £200 or her, and she's probably saving you £2,000.
I've had the same accountant for well over 20 years.
What's the name? Do you want to give him a shout out?
Sarah Jane. Sarah Jane is the best accountant in the whole wide world, from Harrison Bernstein, but she probably won't be able to take you on because she's got loads of clients as it is. She's sick.
Just by the sounds of that, I don't think I can afford her.
She's not that expensive. She was fair, but then I pay people for what they do. Yeah, and she helps a lot.
So that was a very, very interesting
conversation. Wasn't it? Right, deep. We got proper
that was
on
really,
it.
really good. So
I was
before we
myself.
move into the next segment, we're gonna roll some dice, right?
Okay.
We're gonna roll a couple of dices.
It's like spin the bottle. This doesn't look interesting.
And then we're gonna move on to our family, business, and cultural pressures.
Go on then. Yeah.
Right. Okay. So do you want to go first? Ladies first. Yeah. You can move the mic.
Can I move it?
Yeah, you can move it. Yeah.
Right. So what am I doing?
You just roll the dice, and whatever color comes up,
green,
you're gonna take it out and put it on top. And if you falls, you lose.
Oh, this is dodgy. This is. There you go. Oh, the paint makes it worse. It's supposed to not have the paint on it.
Hang on. Don't move that.
You can move that bloody thing out. I'm gonna make this fun, mate. This
Yeah,
is
I'll help you. I'll help you.
I'm gonna make it harder for you, mate. Don't worry. Oh God.
She's gonna drop it wrong.
Let's make this straight now.
Right, your turn next. Set you up.
Red.
Go on then.
There we go.
This is what he's been doing in his spare time.
There you go.
One more.
Yeah, we've got to do a couple, so. It's,
Bloody green again, isn't it?
it's that bloody
Oh,
green
I'm
again.
gonna see like you what you've just done. There you go. That was smart, wasn't it? Copy you. Do I have to put it here
Yep.
in the middle?
Whatever, yeah, anyway. Oh, the darker green.
I'm getting on with
Oh,
it.
yes.
I see. Oh, look, it's me that green again.
I think you.
It's
Oh.
my favourite colour, I have to say. So yeah.
Is it?
Yeah.
Right, moving on.
Go on then.
So now we are going to talk about the family, the business, and the cultural pressures.
Oh yeah.
You are raising children,
Yes.
right? Running a business, managing a household,
Yes.
while being visible online. Now, for
Yep.
South Asian women, these things are often expected to do it all. How do you feel that pressure?
What is expected for South Asian
To
women
do
it
everything
all?
by themselves.
Is it?
Well, I don't know. You tell me. That's what.
No,
that's
girls,
how,
new generation. Yeah, you don't do it all yourself. You get your husband to do the protection, the providing, and you can have maids. No.
We'll leave
Yeah.
that one
They
after.
already believe that. It'll be like a balance.
Oh yeah. They're on the right track now. Girls, you're on the right track.
No, but yeah, okay.
Girls are on the right track now.
30 years ago,
Yep.
40 years ago,
Yep.
you know, our mothers, our aunties, our elders, right, females,
Yep.
had 6, 7, 8
Gotcha,
children,
yeah.
right? And they did everything by themselves. No one ever, you know, said to their husbands, you need to help out. They just cracked on with it. So what has changed?
Well, they were housewives, weren't they?
So why can't these not be housewives? What's wrong with them?
I guess they're feeling a little bit insecure around the men of today,
Such as?
such as maybe the male inability to deliver, and that's why they feel they need
Deliver
to
what?
secure the goods.
No.
Providing, you know, if the wife's going to be at home looking after the kids, the man's going to go out and provide, right?
Okay, which is the normal stuff.
Normal. That's the right balance. I mean, that's the right way. I agree
Yeah,
with
the
that.
normal
one.
stuff. Yeah,
I
yeah,
do
yeah.
agree. I do. I'm not going to put my feminist hat on,
it's
but I
like
do agree.
now the man has to go out,
Yep.
work, provide, come home. Oh, can you help me with this? Can you do this for me? Why don't
Yep.
you do this? Why don't? In fact, there's more pressure being a man in this day and age.
But that you see as what? What do you see that as? A man shouldn't be doing that, or
Not too much of it.
no? Because you know the Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam used to do it.
Well, he had 4 wives as well.
Yeah.
But when in this day and age, people are like, what?
He had 4 wives on what basis?
And that's a hadith, right?
Yeah.
You're allowed
Well,
4.
he was given that the ruling was given on a basis, though, wasn't
Yeah,
it?
it was a basis of you
Yeah.
know certain things that you have to have equal rights.
No,
and
beyond that,
justice
though,
and
right?
all of
Because
that
when
stuff.
was it at the time that ruling was given?
It was at his time.
No,
right?
it was at a time where there was war.
war.
Yeah.
Right, because
More
women,
widows, more
women,
orphans.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
so-
yeah.
so
Right, but
understandable for that to
Understandable, but even today in today's society, people, some women from that culture,
Yeah.
are accepting.
Yeah, of course.
Right, but
Like,
what-
I am being funny, but if somebody said
Islamically-
to me part-time, don't have to see him, just see the best bits, I think it's a deal. You know, he provides everything for you and you get the best bits. I think it's a deal. You don't get the moods, you don't get the socks on the floor, you don't get to have to cook and clean after him. Result, right? Girls, so sharpen up. Let them have it.
And stuff you hate. What's the other one?
Well, they'll have to get whichever one that likes all that stuff. I don't know. Like, is it where
But
would they?
the thing is,
where
like-
would they go though? That's what I'm wondering. Like, where would the fellas go? Like 2 days here, 2 days there, 2 days here. Look, that thing now in today's society is based on lust. They don't go for somebody that's vulnerable and needy. They go for their own needs, and therefore it defies the reasons why it was given in the first place, and therefore it's haram, fellas.
No, look, at the end of the day, right? Imagine this now, right?
Yeah.
This was a God-given right to
Yeah.
the women.
Yes.
Okay.
What, for a woman to have 4 husbands?
Argument's sake.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
You telling me now how women control everything? They
Yeah.
would be like, This is our God-given right. How dare you stop us from that? Right? But when a man does that, they'll be like, nah, there's so many pros and cons. You have to do this, you have to do that. Da, 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 da.
No, but where are they getting the information from, though?
I don't know. You tell me.
The facts.
What facts?
One big
from
fat
from
rule
a bro.
book that was given from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to say to you fellas, this is your burden of responsibility. You must do this, you must do this, you must do
So,
this.
okay. If
Women
a guy
have got
is,
fabulous rights in Islam. I love it.
yeah, they have.
Yeah.
No doubt.
Yeah.
But they love to exercise their rights.
No, but they're also, both ways, mate. Trust me. There's a man Islam. I call it man Islam, where fellas will transcribe the parts of Quran that suit them most. Right? This is the man Islam. This is the man Quran, and this is the real one.
No, but
The woman Quran as well, no?
yeah.
Probably. I have no
I'm
idea.
glad
I
there
don't
isn't
care.
one.
I live my life.
So it's like okay. So now, even for example, right?
Yeah.
Somebody who's doing it for the right reasons.
As in what we're talking about right now, but the four
So
wives.
Yeah.
All right,
He's
yeah.
doing it for the right reason.
Okay, good man.
Another. Not all four. Say he wants to get married again,
Yep.
right? For whatever reasons,
Yep.
there's a woman.
Yep.
She's single,
Yep.
child.
Yep.
She's vulnerable.
Yep.
But even that is not accepted very easily
By who?
by women.
Which
I'm-
woman? The first wife?
Yeah, the first wife, and her family, and their community.
If he's doing it for the right reasons with ultimately the right intention, yes, it would be sensible and fair for him to talk to his first wife. And, it does steer from whether she would accept it for that reason. I mean, there's got to be women out.
He's
You just-
Islamically doing everything to their T,
Yeah.
right? Usually in Arab cultures, it's accepted, so we're not going to talk about that. But we're going to talking about the South Asian culture, right?
Shall I tell you what? Simplify this problem.
Yeah.
When you get married, you put in the contract, she says, I definitely won't be accepting a second wife. And he says, well, I'm not sure if that's ever going to arise in my life, and therefore I'm not marrying you. Job done, right? And if he says, there's a possibility in the future that me being the sincerest human being ever, I'm going to help a woman in need. Therefore, if it arises, would you accept it? As long as it's clean cut from the beginning, then happy days. You won't have any problems. So these things need to be bashed out at the beginning of the contract that you're going to agree with
But
one
then
another.
she's not even going to get married to you in the first place.
Well,
She's like,
people need
"Yo,
to-
You brought this up. Why did you bring this up? There must be someone.
Not necessarily. Just say some men will genuinely know, I guess, when they get married.
I've
if-
got a friend who's got 2 wives, 10 kids,
Yeah.
12 kids, 10 kids.
In the
something
UK?
like- yeah, here.
Yeah.
And brilliant.
Both
Life's
wives
good.
know?
Yeah, they both
Brilliant.
chill out together, and the families hang about together, and he's got it all sussed out. Brilliant, But even he said at the start it was very shaky because his first wife was talking to him, and then slowly she kind of got over it,
yeah.
and
Yeah.
and it just happened. But see, that's what I'm saying. Like they might come around it. But being as Islamically, if you do it something properly, and now this woman
For the good
was-
reason, the right reason. So how does he feel about that? Like how does he feel knowing that he's got 2 wives? How does that
He
adjust
loves
in
it.
his mind?
Fine. He's 4 days here, 3 days there, 3 days there, 4 days there, and takes them to the same holidays and everything. And it's just brilliant. It's like
Yeah.
fantastic.
Interesting.
My wife's always like, "Why do you always say fantastic about that?"
I
It's like,
don't
no, but,
understand.
the guy's got it.
maybe Allah made females emotional and in touch with their emotions. So it's interesting how men can do that.
Yeah.
How can you? I wonder if I could. Wonder.
The Prophet's wives were jealous of each other.
Yeah.
It's normal.
Yeah.
The jealousy is normal, but I'm saying like more of accepting it as a Islamic thing if he's doing it properly, not for other reasons.
Look, if
That's
there's a woman out there
understandable.
that says, "Yep, I'm quite happy with this arrangement, suits me," great.
Yeah,
Then
then
if he
of
wants to do
course.
it, he can
But
do it.
There's
If
not
she
many,
wants to do
but
it,
there's
fine.
not many women like that out there in this day and age because they
Well, what
just
does that tell you then? You can't do it, basically.
why they say God's given right though,
Well,
isn't it?
God's given right. We go back
the
to
right
where we
place.
were before,
And
as to
for
when
the right
ruling-
reasons,
when
for the
ruling-
right
for the
reasons.
right reasons when the ruling was given. So there will be women out there, and I think actually,
No, they are.
No,
There
there
are.
are. There are now. I know. I've spoken to some of them, and actually, they're saying exactly that. They don't want men. That's why.
Why?
They just don't want the headache.
you can't. Even that's Islamically wrong, isn't it? Like you
Well,
can't
no.
just
What?
because you can't stay at home all your life.
Look, you go to work, you bring in the bucks, you do everything by the book, you provide for your wife, and she only has to see you for 3 to 4 times a week. Now, if all she's got to do is get over the fact that you're just going to bugger off somewhere else to somebody else, right? She can get over that. Result, she's got 3 days or 4 days a week to herself. Full bed to herself. Relax. No snoring, no smells, nothing. Result. Would I be a second wife? No. I don't mind being a part-time wife, but I wouldn't be a second wife. I don't know. I think the zamana is changing a lot now, and women, because they have stood up, they are very independent. They don't necessarily need.
I'm all for that.
Yeah.
I'm all for that. You know, everyone, even the Prophet's wife was a businesswoman and whatnot. And she was better than him in the sense of business. Right? She was older than him, and that obviously.
Is that true?
What is
That she was older than him? Have you not seen a TikTok? I know we shouldn't believe TikTok,
TikTok?
but there was a TikTok recently. These guys actually were pulling out all sorts of facts saying that she wasn't. She was the same age. I was like, damn it.
TikTok?
I thought she
Are
was
you a
older.
TikTok sheikh, by the way?
A TikTok sheikh.
Yeah.
Apparently I am. If I say Merry Christmas, that gets me in trouble, though.
Yeah, you shouldn't.
All right.
Okay.
All right.
And I'm not a TikTok sheikh.
All right.
Anyways,
then.
right.
All right,
moving
then.
on. Where was I? Oh, I had a really good question now.
And I threw you off on purpose because you were going about the 4 wives thing, and I was like, don't even start that one, sunshine. He's trying to find some sort of justifiable argument.
No,
that he
I'm
can have
not.
one
Look,
for
you can, right, if it's for the right reasons.
Yeah.
But in this day and age, it's
And as
not
long as
those,
everyone's happy.
and it's not for that reason in this day and age. We'll leave it at that.
No, it's not, yeah. All
We'll
right.
leave it at that,
Yeah.
okay?
So men are wrong then, basically, is what you're saying.
No, of course they are.
Oh.
For that reason. Look, what's right and wrong is different.
Okay.
Right? What's right and wrong? If they're doing it for the wrong reasons, yes, it's wrong.
they
If
do
they're
that.
doing it for the right reasons, then go ahead. You know, it's your right.
I have to say that men have changed now anyway.
My question, yes, I just remembered now. My question, what's happened to men this day and age?
Exactly, they've changed.
Why?
I'll tell you for why. I know the answer because you know me, I've got an answer for everything.
Yeah.
So, particularly in this country, men lack testosterone.
Right, okay.
And the reason for that is, you know, the food that they eat, everything's got hormones in it.
Yep.
And actually, I'm not joking now, I'm actually being serious, for females as well, because they don't want, the bigger agenda is they do not wish for people to procreate. They don't want it anymore. There's too many people, they don't want to look after us, systems have to be, advanced, etc. Facilities have to
Put
be...
your mic a bit closer.
Facilities have to be put into place.
Yeah.
And so if they make it so that people can't have children through messing with people's hormones, your shampoo has hormones in it. Why?
Wow.
Yeah, your shampoo's got hormones in it. So many foods you eat have got hormones.
Yeah.
They've got things in everything that's why I avoid eating anything processed. I've kept myself relatively clean and healthy my entire life. I don't have menopause. What the hell is menopause? Perimenopause? I don't have it. I'm 50 in January. I should have started something by now, but I haven't because I've maintained through, and it all stemmed because my mum got diabetes when I was 20. And you know, our Asian families, we eat real, we home cook.
Yeah.
You know, so that is where your problem is. It's the hormones. And boys are no longer becoming men.
Yeah.
They just don't have that. What does testosterone give you? It
Energy,
gives you
level,
energy,
strength, a lot, yeah.
hunger, desire, that hunting. It gives you that masculinity. They don't have it. They don't have enough. Yeah. Just
old
because you
beard
got a
lads.
beard, just because you got a beard,
Good old
just
beard
because you got a
lads.
beard doesn't mean you're a man.
Last time I checked, it was that.
Actions.
And of course, actions are the biggest thing.
Yeah, of course.
right?
That is the weakness. I think that's where women have had to
Step up.
evolve. Yeah. Now, you know the saying that behind every successful man there is a woman. Now what's happening is she's pushed him out the way and she's gone, I'm doing it for myself now, love, because, you know, I need some recognition. You're getting it all and I'm getting nothing. And then, like, for what?
Do it myself.
Yeah, I'll do it myself. It was all I do it myself.
How's raising children now in Malaysia compared to the UK?
Super easy.
And how does it help you preserve more of your culture or Islamic
Beautiful,
values?
peaceful, easy. Like, so for example, if I went on a road trip, so I'm going to KL, meet some friends, en route, you know, the azan goes, en route, stopped, services, nice and relaxed. You get something to eat, you do your prayers, everybody else is doing the same thing. You've got little sweet, cute little girls in their baju karongs, which is the skirt and the dress thing. Nice, modest, not just modest, but feminine. And they've got their hijabs on from a young age and it's perceived as being beautiful. And, you know, the way that they're encouraged to be. And I think that femininity is lost in this country or in the Western world. And that adab that exists in Malaysia, and girls can see that. You get your prayer level, you get education, you get safety, you get innocence. Innocence has gone from here because they're, what can I say, that they're doing from a very, very young age to pollute our children's minds at school.
Now, I do want to touch upon school because I am, you know, I've got a little one now and, you know, he's going to be going into school very soon before you even know it. And I mean, he's only 2.5 yet, but, you know.
Yeah, not long.
It'll be like this, you know.
Yeah,
and,
transformation of the child, you'll see.
And then we've been having, oi, stop it.
I'm crossing my legs, you know, it's like these baggy trouser things and I don't want to get my ankles out.
So we've been having this discussion of, you know, whether to homeschool him or send him to a private school, nursery and all of that stuff. So we're gonna touch upon that, okay? And
school is amazing if you want to get rid of your kids for the day.
Yes.
Yeah.
I believe that.
Yeah.
If you want peace
and quiet,
of time.
Yeah, peace time.
No problem.
Send them to school. I don't think schools are bad, but I know many of my children from a young age, their behaviour changes for the worse came from when they went to schools and nurseries. So they're pulling that way, you've got to pull them back in again. And yeah, discipline is at home. You know, it's your home environment, the respect they give you, that you should be able to craft and mould your child effectively. But I just think I've met homeschooled children that were homeschooled from a very young age, and they are super intelligent. You could have a conversation with them as if you're talking to an adult. And some people say that the biggest classic thing is about homeschooling, people say, but what about their social skills? Yeah. What does that mean? Like, if you were saying to me, but what about the kids' social skills? What do you mean by that?
Their friends, their, you know, the circle, right? And how they interact with people. You know, that's the kind of normal
interaction,
right?
I'll tell you that they are stronger interactors because they experience people new everywhere they go. So the ability to interact and speak to anyone gives you a confidence, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So when you're in your comfort zone of people, you don't have the same confidence as if you are meeting new people all the time. You're comfortable with that and it makes you more confident.
Less confident.
As in your comfort zone with your circle, less confident because you're comfortable here and it almost takes something away from you. With the rest of it, like my daughter's never really, you can, you join clubs, things like my brother teaches Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and all of these people are like-minded and they're doing something that they all are interested in together. So I guess school does teach you things like, the good kid, the bad kid, the one and the bullying side of things. It teaches you, probably helps you lose self-esteem because society is driven around the way things are supposed to be, the way you're supposed to look, fashion, and which is all actually, they're all businesses, aren't they? Everything is fashion driven or a beauty, and it's all driven off the back of industries that want to make money, not really because they want you to feel good or look good or whatever. There's just a new fashion every month because they want to make that money out of you. And so if you don't fit that, then there's issues at school, people bullying, and right now it's even worse. Yeah, you don't fit. You don't look, because you're wrong shape or you're wrong color or you're wrong size or your hair or whatever, eyes, they pick on you for everything. Whereas, kids, pure kids don't do things like that.
Do you think that raising kids in Malaysia would or can possibly shelter children from today's normal environments, such as, acceptance of the other side of the world, if you know what I mean?
So look,
so they'll be like, ooh, I don't know.
One beauty about Malaysia, and even not just Malaysia, but a lot of the other countries I've ever been to, and you've probably seen as well when you go there, is that children maintain an innocence. They get to be children. They get to behave like children. They get to play out on the street without there being any risks. Not all countries, but there are plenty of countries where children are still children. Like when I was in Malaysia, the kids could play out in the street. You could send them off on the beach and not worry about whether somebody was going to come and take them.
So it's very similar like Dubai.
Yeah, it's very similar. Yeah. We were out on the beach in Langkawi, sitting there watching the fire dancers, and Hira's gone off and she's made friends. The good thing with that as well is just a different style of friendship. Let's say Turkey. We went to Turkey. Mm-hmm. She met a lot of British children. She met some Russians. I think mainly the Russians and the British. She got contact numbers off of people, email addresses, and she now has her circle where they get together that way. Yeah. And the good thing is it's communication using technology, which is where the future is going to be anyway. Yeah. But, writing skills, emailing. We used to have pen pals in the day.
MSN. We used to have MSN.
Yeah.
The ASL.
Yeah, so I think it's just a different way now. Homeschooling isn't a bad thing. It actually means that she's got more time because she does her science, maths, English, science, geography, and RE but primarily it's those three topics. And then she's got somebody that teaches her Arabic because obviously I want her to learn Arabic. Yeah. And then she's free. Yeah, and when we was in Malaysia, we go swimming. We're free for the afternoon. Let's go and do something. It doesn't always have to be that. Mm-hmm. But at least she's got, and where we were living, there's a madrasa and all the children from the community come and play together. So that was also very nice. So she was friends, like where we live here in the UK, all the kids in our community play in the local park. That's how it used to be when I was growing up. Yeah. So what went wrong in this country's education system then? I think they're just guinea pigging everything. That's what's going wrong. The guinea pig, so much wrong, so much. Because, if you think about immigration, you think about the borders, everyone's coming in intentionally. They're not dealing with the hospitals and the education. There's not building enough schools fast enough. They're letting more people in because it's all about money, innit? Getting the money in. Immigration, students, obviously they don't have many homegrown medics anymore, so they have to let them in with their families. Schools are overburdened. There's oversubscribed. It's just grown and grown and grown, hasn't it? Think about it this way. At the speed the population has grown, they haven't delivered enough schools and hospitals or facilities, dentists, at the same rate. They just build houses, sell houses. It's industry. Everything is money-making industry off of us, and we're the ones that suffer. That's the way it is.
All right. And on that note, was that your turn or my turn?
Yours.
Yeah, right.
You keep getting red as well, don't you? I'm getting my greens. You're getting your reds. I feel really dizzy.
Why is that?
I don't know. I was feeling it today earlier as well. It's been an adrenaline day.
Why is it? Ooh, the yellows are in.
Yeah, it's just been a bit of an adrenaline day, driving up, and now we're going to go out as well.
I was doing most of the driving.
I know, but it's still, you're like a third of my age. Half. But yeah,
The
I don't know, BP
first one
showed
came
down.
out. First one was right. Third of my age. No. Did I just say that? On mic? Did I just?
I'm
Did I
33.
just say that? Did I say that on mic?
I don't care.
Okay.
Some people are bothered about their ages, but I'm not.
So I don't know how people are bothered about this. Like, no one cares. Everyone's gonna get older. So what? Just live with
No,
it.
you got your soul age, innit? Stop thinking they do it on purpose to make you feel old.
All right. Once you touch it, once it starts moving, you gotta stick with it.
Doing it with my left hand as well. Look.
Oh, the very dodgy bit.
Last one.
It's not getting blue.
I just did.
Just kidding.
Oi.
Ooh.
You know what, I'm gonna risk
You're
it.
gonna risk it.
Oh
You're
yes.
gonna.
Blue. Red. That's it. You've had it. You lot. Ooh.
No, maybe not if the pressure's not higher.
Right. Moving on. Let's talk about health, physical and mental health.
Yep.
Why do you think our communities still avoid talking about these
No, they
things?
do, don't they? Our
Absolutely.
community avoids talking about medical things like ADD or ASD. They don't like to talk about it because they think that there's a need for perfection. So that's on that front. But mental health, are you saying about like depression?
Yeah. It's a big thing. It's a big thing.
Why do our new generations are probably opening up to a little bit more? I was probably similar minded as well. Is like depression. Like my brother's the same. Depression doesn't exist. It's all in your mind.
It's the one who teaches jiu-jitsu, right?
Yeah. It doesn't exist. It's all in your
I
head.
personally don't believe it exists. If you are busy enough in your life, you can never be depressed.
What if something hits you hard?
You hit harder back. What can possibly, if you have a fit mind, right, mentally fit mind, what can possibly hit you in a way that it would break you?
Loss of a child, divorce, parents dying, sibling. Death is probably one of the big things.
Yeah, apart
Right.
from death, because I've got friends who've lost children, parents, but they've kind of outgrew that in a very, very amazing way. They've done things.
So it exists. Like I
Your
can
mic.
tell you.
You might.
I can tell you the reason why my mindset changed was because I came close to sinking into the black hole.
Okay, so
Yeah.
tell me more about this
So-
black hole.
I was in a business partnership
Right. Yeah.
with a girlfriend for a very long time. And I can say that I loved her dearly. And then let's say money came in between. And that broke the friendship, broke the business.
Wow.
It didn't break the business because I was already stepping out of it anyway. But then money comes in and, you both do things that you wouldn't ordinarily do because your defenses are up or whatever. And then I went to open a business. And I think that's probably, I've faced a few challenges in my life, but that was the one that made me go deep. And I felt like I'd lost, first loss, I'd say that was my first loss. And I would say I was more upset, and I know I'm going to say this on camera, which is not the best thing to do, but I'm going to say it because I'm just such an open, straight, honest person.
Yeah.
I felt more loss losing her than I did for my divorce, which is mad, right? But I know that I felt like I was, our business partnership split, our friendship split, and there I was now setting up a new business, which is quite hard actually. And I wasn't planning on doing that either, but it fell into play. And I actually do know, I felt like I was sinking because I was constantly like the effort to wake up in the morning. Because I'm a driver. I get up, I do my salah, I go to the gym, I was doing these green smoothies 20 years ago. You know, and I was optimistic. But when you love somebody, like I really loved her as a girlfriend, not a girlfriend, but you know, I used to call her my wife. This is why my marriage lasted so long, because I had her.
Wow.
She was my communicator. She was my partner. She was everything. And then, so like back to the whole depression
exactly
thing.
happened then between, because this is like somebody's so close, and now it's just like.
Yeah, I would say closer than my husband. She was closer to me than my husband. She was closer to me than my husband. There's no doubt about
Why
that.
did she mess up in business, or who?
We decided that I decided that it was time that we parted ways, because not parted ways, that we sold up. And I spoke to the accountant about it first. Without her knowing.
Right. So,
right. Yeah. So I think that was from her point. She was like, you know, she felt bad.
Consulted with her first.
Talked to her first. No, I did say to her that markets changed because the tenant fee ban had come in, and we were the ones as directors that were losing our money. And so I think it's time that we sold. Let's replicate this, but put it into finance, because she was also a qualified mortgage advisor. I was qualified mortgage advisor. I said, let's do the same thing. We can replicate this, bigger bucks, easier work, and no headache of this landlords and tenants and maintenance and all of that, right? So, but she found a partner, and things started to change. Let's just say the dynamics changed, because she found a partner. A
business partner, or
no, a life partner, yeah.
Okay.
Which I was happy for her very much, but things started to change, and I don't know why they changed. So then I thought, I'll speak to Sarah Jane, who's our accountant. Yep. And I said to her, look, this is it. What's it worth? And then the money side of it comes in.
Yeah.
You know, so there is no view, but I did say to her, the money side doesn't matter. I got shortchanged. Period. Like, black and white is, we were business partners. We both owned the business.
50-50.
50-50. This is the value. This is what I'm due. I didn't get what I was due, but I don't care, because I valued the friendship more than the money. Mm-hmm. So after a bit, I did put out the olive branch and say, look, hands up. Let's just put it all in the past. Let's be friends. But that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about depression and falling into the pit. So there's all sorts of things that can happen in your life that will make you fall. And trust me, when you go to that black hole, if you haven't got the strength to stop yourself from falling in, you'll fall into it. And then to get out of it, it's not easy. And I'm mentally strong. So even though I was halfway in, I knew what was happening. And I told myself, this isn't happening. You're not going to fall into that pit. Get up, get out. So, because obviously I was on my own now. I was married, but I was on my own. There was no communicator, and I need somebody to communicate with.
So let me ask you this thing. What happened? It's a bit of a personal question. So what happened with your marriage?
Well, yeah, that's too
personal.
Well, it's not personal. It's more along the lines of, you're not going to say bad, are you? You're not going to say anything bad about somebody. Let's just say we were... No, you won't. Islamically, you're not going to badmouth, because I don't want to go to hell for it either. But I'm not going to, like, I never slagged him off when I was, like, with him, let alone afterwards as well, you know, so you're not going to. But let's just say I married him because back in the day, you're a divorcee with a child, no one's going to marry you. Yeah.
Okay.
So
the
it happened,
blackmail.
It came along, that was the perception, right? Yeah. No one's going to marry you. So take what comes. But the match was all wrong. My father said it was wrong, but nobody listened. And neither did I.
So was it a love marriage or?
Semi.
Okay.
Yeah, introduced, got on with one another. I get on with everyone. I ain't being funny. Like, if I look at it now, I'd have God knows how many husbands by now. Yeah. And then I just did it, and then life just took over. You know, the first child comes along, the second one, the third one, the fourth one, and before you know it, 22 years have passed, and then certain things occur, and you just go, right, that's it.
You weren't having enough time together?
No, I think, one
Or is this
path.
too much time to go?
People,
dude.
no, not at all. No, I think it's just like some people keep going and keep growing, and some people don't. And also, I was slipping more. I wouldn't call it a slip because it's not. It's a growth into. I've always, put my kids into madrasa, which was hard, putting them in there because they're in boarding, so you're sending them off. You're not seeing them. So that was hard in itself as well. But everything was for the reasons, like my mum brought us up pretty well, tight on the deen, but not heavily practicing. So I'm going more that way. And that's the direction that I want to be in. I want to still live in the dunya, but deen comes first.
Of course, yeah.
So, but if it's hard when you've got two people pulling in different directions. Not just that, it was a few other things. So I think we just said,
Yeah, I mean, in terms of like, when you mention therapy or anxiety in Desi households, right?
Yes.
It's often brushed off by people
not
saying,
just that,
look,
not Asians as well. Everyone. I'm having therapy right now.
Okay, let me finish my question.
Go on then.
Then you can tell me about your therapy. So often it's brushed off by like, and you should read Salah and read Quran.
You can. I did exactly the same thing with my kids.
And isn't that like, or don't be ungrateful, you've got everything, and be happy with everything you have.
Why would you be depressed?
Isn't that like spiritual bypassing?
Spiritual bypassing, kind of you are. Because you know what it is? You don't know what else to say. Because we're not professionals. We don't know how to deal with trauma or what emotions somebody's feeling, because not everybody's open with their emotions. I'm the worst person to talk about my emotions. Like, I talk to my girlfriend, but apart from her, don't talk to anybody about
that
my
same
emotions.
one, the business one. Okay. So you're still friends then?
No.
Oh, okay.
No. It's probably best though. Like, I'm on this path.
No, that's fine.
But she's English. She's English. They live their life their way.
Which is fine.
So in a way, it was a good thing. It was a good thing. Allah did what Allah did for a reason.
Yeah, but
I
at the
just
time
didn't
we don't
understand it at the time.
Exactly.
I understand it completely now. It's probably wholly for the best.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Whatever.
So
your therapy now, you're having
well,
therapy?
so spiritual bypassing, you're right. We do that because the reason why we do it, like when my kids came to me with emotions and I said, pray Salah, read the Quran, and then it's me in my head going, why would they have any issues? Why are they feeling this? Well, you don't know. We grew up there's no parenting book, right? We grew up, we saw what we saw. They're seeing something completely different. We don't know what they're seeing. We don't know what they're experiencing. This whole social media where people bully each other on it, it's horrendous.
It's a big thing.
Cyberbullying, they do it, and it was in existence. My daughter got bullied at school, but you don't know what and you don't know how to deal with. So fortunately, I was foster carer, right? And in the foster caring system, they tell you about counselling and CAMS or whatever it's called. I can't remember. But they help you and they guide you to say that this is really... it opens your mind. I had 5 children and fostering training taught me how to parent. We learn to parent from our parents. You have generational impact, and sometimes you have generational trauma that your parents have received from their parents that they're then bringing into you, and you're bringing some of that into your children unintentionally, unknowingly, subconsciously. You do it. You don't realize. So the beauty of, the way that they're teaching you things here, like old days, they'd go, kid's done something wrong, give him a slap, bit of a slap doesn't hurt. Nowadays they don't do that. Let's talk to the child.
But isn't that better? Look at our age now.
Toughens us up, right?
Yeah, exactly.
It ruins it. It toughens you up. Yeah, you got a little slap for doing something wrong, and you won't repeat it. That's for sure. But
that's what we want.
Yeah, but then you know what? It damages you in other ways. It's not, almost.
I used to get battered. I mean, if my dad had the chance to beat me up now, he'll do it. No questions asked. He'll do it now.
Yeah.
So what is so different in us to
it becomes
our
a norm,
now?
right? Because then obviously we can't say it now here, can we? So you get done for it. But it becomes a norm for you to then normally do it, normalized for you to do it to your children. And it's just not the way. You want to bring if you think about Norway, they don't do any of this stuff. They bring peace and happiness and positivity, and
I'll have to go there and see exactly what this positivity
they don't let you do
is.
it. They don't your life with your children in Norway is very difficult. Like if you wanted to do anything that was harmful for the child's protected very much. And in a way, I kind of agree with it. Because if you look at the parenting, look, I come from fostering background, right? And the children, the things that they've experienced, and just because your home is harmony doesn't mean that there's children not suffering out there. And so it's important that there's these rules.
But if you're not going to toughen up your children, whichever way, right? First of all, they're your children.
You can toughen them up and then go do Brazilian jiu-jitsu or something, you know? Learn how to roll properly.
Well, exactly. And there's going to be someone out there who's just going to beat you. They're going to get bullied. If they are very soft, if they've been brought up, especially in this day and age, in the UK. I don't know about Norway. I don't know what the system is.
Well, we're going on to bullying now.
And no, I'm just saying, like, isn't it better to kind of every now and then, you know, just to toughen up your child?
No, I don't think
because
so.
someone else who outside the house will do it. They will get bullied.
They don't have to. You can teach them defense. It doesn't have to be offense.
Well, yeah, exactly. Try and dodge this, bro. You know,
but it's a bit like saying, "I'm going to slap you, so you know how to take a punch."
Yeah. Why not?
Look at.
I know. I want to slap you, so you know how to throw a punch.
Throw a punch, but also take one.
Well,
You're going to have to take one to know how to throw one. Yeah, I can throw a punch, but I've never, ever, ever, ever experienced anyone physical towards me. Never. Right, except for my dad gave me a slap once. Right, that was it. That was bad. But in my life, I haven't.
I can still see the marks, you know.
Oh yeah, it was bad.
See,
it was bad. Did you see that? Did you hear how I went like that because I remembered? Yeah, trauma. So,
but tell me one thing: did it shape you up after that? That's the question.
Did I repeat?
Did you repeat, or did you like? Oh, that's
No, I did.
Yourself.
I did. Look, you get a slap, you just learn how to do it better, don't you? Yeah. You're the way you are. I have to say, my kids did get, like, not in this country, it was on foreign soil, yeah.
Look, at the end of the day, look, the way I see it is
they're all over 18 now, it's fine.
Look, the way I see it is your children, you know, you need to have certain, there has to be certain boundaries.
I understand, but we're going into disciplining, right? And there's like, that's a conversation in itself.
Disciplining
You've got enough time for it.
I don't expect, like, you know, getting battered and black and blue, you know.
No, that's wrong.
That's wrong.
Oh, very.
But when a child does something, you should be allowed to.
No, I don't agree with that. I think you have to find different levels of discipline. You just have to work your way through the discipline.
Going to your room, you're grind for 2 weeks. No,
lots of ways you can discipline without. There's lots of ways of discipline.
How are you going to use the internet then?
Yeah, there's lots of ways of disciplining without you having to be physical with them. Physical has to be like the ultimate extreme, whatever, and it has to be there to restrain, not to discipline them.
No, I agree, but I also agree that
I don't think a
child should have.
It doesn't work. No.
It does. Trust me, it does.
Just because it worked on you doesn't mean it's going to work on everyone else. Do you know what I mean?
It didn't. I just got the meeting. That's all. It didn't even work.
See what I mean? Subject, case closed. Case closed. Yeah, next topic.
No. But now when my dad's in the room, you know exactly how to behave. You see some kids, right? They treat their fathers like their friends. And they talk to them in a way that, bro, he's your dad, man. Calm down.
Is when you give him a look and when you say you're going to do it, you do it.
It's for me.
Well, that's what I'm saying, isn't it?
Mine has been my tone. Because I learned quite quickly that there's no point in shouting. Because if you shout, you're going to shout louder and louder and louder. Eventually, your throat's going to hurt. And there's going to be a level that you can't go above. And therefore, now it's fine. And then the tone comes in. If the tone comes in, they know that mum's
nothing's going to happen.
Be serious
right.
now.
So
yeah.
Next time when that tone comes out, nothing's happening.
Tone, the speed of which I say. Sometimes I agree with you. It depends on how extreme the, what they've done as to the punishment level.
There has to be an element of a little slap every now and then, depending on the but anyways, that's again down to personal preferences, right? You can always go into
illegal.
You can always go into settings and
your kid's going to be like childline.
You know what Russell Peters said?
Don't be surprised, mate. Seriously.
You know what Russell Peters said? It'll take them 45 minutes to get here, Right, and in that 45 minutes, somebody's going to get hurt real bad. Right, moving
Go
on.
on.
Right, okay.
Oh.
Yes.
Just so you know, you're the third person
Yeah.
to play this game.
Oi, stop it.
Third person what?
Third person to play this game.
Oh.
And
Lost the first 2 times.
Oh, I see. Damn it. I'm no good at this, honestly. Because I don't know whether it's because I didn't eat
I
well.
feel like just kicking the table now.
Oh, look.
But eventually did it.
She's lost. That's it. And that's the thank goodness.
Can I take
No.
that one?
Yeah, you can.
Go on then.
Because, yeah,
I can, can't I?
Go on then.
Seriously, I'm actually not feeling fully myself. But
See, this guy wants me to lose again.
That's me, is it?
Yeah.
pink.
Pink. Ah,
And listen, these games I'm rubbish at.
No, he is rubbish.
No, I'm rubbish at these games. So you know what that's saying then, don't you?
no! Moving on,
I
ladies
don't-
and gentlemen. We'll be back after the break.
He's very competitive. He's lost 3 times in a row.
I will own up that I'm no good at it.
Look, we can't beat our guests now, can we? It's a sign of
Okay, yeah.
disrespect.
Psychological thing.
All right, it's we gotta keep our guests engaged and happy and have a good experience. In fact, imagine every guest got lost, they wouldn't want to come. You don't want them to go out that door
It's just excuses.
unhappy.
Go on, move
You know what I
on,
mean?
move
You know
on.
what I mean,
Shall I?
right?
Go on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He agrees with me.
He's a child. He's gonna.
He's over 18. He's
yeah,
not a
but
child
irrelevant.
anymore.
He just doesn't understand what angle you're coming in from. I do.
I didn't know. It's alright.
Yeah.
There you go. He's agreed with me. Anyways, moving on. Now that we've got no more dices, in Malaysia, interest-free finance is common, right?
Interest-free finance is not common.
Is it not?
Nope.
Oh, well, there's a mistake on our research.
Well, I mean, they
But do they?
charge.
Okay, so
'Cause
they.
it's halal.
All right, so they do it the other way around. So
Yeah.
they give you, and then this is how much we're gonna
Yeah.
take on top,
Yeah.
rather than the typical.
I mean, like,
Interest.
dig deep into borrowing. Really, all borrowing is haram.
Yeah.
Period.
Okay.
But we live in a world now where they've made it that you can't survive without taking some form of borrowing. Like in the old days, you were able to do like, this whole committee thing that you could collaborate with
best.
one another. It'd be like £1,000, and then everybody would, borrow that, and then over a period of time they give it back. But I mean, it's hard, isn't it?
It is.
It's very hard. I remember the days when I was doing finance where one person, say the fella, was earning the money. He was the provider, and you could have a decent life. She could stay at home. She could look after the kids, and it worked, right? This isn't going back that long ago. I was about 23. So you're talking 25 years ago. Yeah. Not that long ago. And then... and then, of course, like society has grown and technology has come in, and you would have thought that technology was going to make our lives easier, but instead the demand on us has grown, and they've seen the benefits of it, and they've pumped the prices of everything to make more money, and we need 2 people to work now in order to sustain and live a decent life. And now you're looking at it where even 2 people are working and they still can't do it unless they've got a decent job.
Yeah.
Do
you think that's because of the clever marketing of the things that you need that you don't actually need? So people kind of
that's what I mean. It's the what do they call it? Sorry, my head's a bit. The conglomerates.
So you need a new car. You need
elites,
this.
You
You
don't
need
need
that.
any of it. They've made your life become that way. So following fashion, for example, the need for everything. Like if you simplify your life to the bare basics, you'll find that you can survive on a lot less. Yeah. And you just have to find. Like, look at during COVID, People survived, and they did without this, and they did without that, and they did without that, and we all did fine.
Some of us, yeah. Some of us we started.
It's all industry, isn't it? Food is an industry.
Toilet
Beauty is a huge industry. Pharmaceuticals is an industry. Banking is an industry.
So why is it so easily that we get kind of drawn into that and we need this?
Well, marketing's got smarter in it, and they make you the desires, isn't it? The desires. Human nature wants. They tap into those weaknesses, don't they? Insecurities, making you feel like this is going to be good for you. This is going to make you be more desirable. And they tap into all of those emotions and make people follow. A bit like social media influencers, you could say, couldn't you, really?
Yeah, all of them.
Yeah.
Yeah. You don't need half of them.
No. Some of them speak the truth, though. They make you see sense.
Yeah. Some of them, not all of them. Some
see
of them
it for what it is. Yeah.
You know, do you genuinely feel that in Malaysia, Sharia compliance, is it Sharia compliant, or is it just clever marketing?
I think it's Sharia compliant.
Okay.
Simply because it is Sharia compliant, black and white. But if you were to go deep and get, scholars in on the chat, they might look at it and go, no, it's just addressing a requirement, but is actually non-compliant, as in it's haram. But
what do we do in that situation?
I know, what do you
do? UK, there's nothing financial halal. Dubai is the same thing, really.
It's all the same thing. It's all the same thing.
So where do we go then? Like, how do these sheikhs and...
the thing is, we've been grown in this country with the way that we've been grown. It is the way. But for us to strip down to a hell of a lot less, it's going to take some unpacking, because our kids, my kids, alhamdulillah, thank God, they never were the brands. They were never about, I always said to them about good shoes, always good shoes. Actually, we found some good shoes on TikTok recently, and they've been surviving very well. So you don't I still believe good shoes, you pay for what you get. Shoes are shoes, right?
Right.
But, and in certain products, brands, you do pay for what you get. Because I was always about a very minimal wardrobe of very nice, pricey pieces, but not to follow fashion. It was what I liked and what suited my physique. That's the way that I used to be. Now, I know that I can get away with a £4 abaya and a hijab and some flip-flops, and I'm good. I don't care about what you can... But it's easy to get dragged in because you wear something and everybody goes, oh, that looks really nice. Oh, you look really pretty in that. Females like to look pretty, don't they? And men are just as bad. They're all fluffing their feathers now as well, aren't they? They're peacocks.
Yeah.
Huh?
Canada goose.
What, fellas?
Oh, the
the peacock, the male peacock feather.
They like to groom it a lot.
The whole grooming, the fashion, the scent, the moisturising.
I don't get that bit. The moisture. I've never moisturised.
Well, I'd like to know as well. I've got 3 sons, yeah?
I've just the other day.
2 of them are fine, and this youngest one pinches all of my stuff. I was glad that I was thinking, I've got sons, they're not going to nick my clothes, they're not going to nick my... He takes all my stuff. He's going, Mum, where's your brow blade thing? And he's in the bathroom helping himself. I went to, it's only to brow. He showed me, like you get this blade thing and you can just tidy your brows up. He showed me.
He needs to spend a day with me.
I'm telling you, I kid you not, right? That I made this post that has not made it to my social media, but I made it because you know what I'm like. I just have an emotion or a feeling and I go, bang, stick the phone in front of me and I do it. I came home from Dubai. I had some really lovely moisturizers. One was the Zamzam one and one was made with Manuka honey. Very nice. I was using them very sparingly.
Very
I
lovingly.
came back, I kid you not, I was only a third through. I come back and you could see the bottom of both. I was only gone for 10 days. I flipped. I said, no, I know it's him. I know it was him. And I was like, what the hell did you do with my... I was so annoyed at him. And I said, you're getting a job. go get a job. You know, they got a job in the chicken shop.
Yeah,
That was
yeah.
one of my posts. Yeah,
Send him to me, man.
he's got a job in the. He paid off one of them so far.
Yeah, send
Yeah.
him to me. I'll
He's
fix
got a job
him
in the
up.
chicken shop. He's making wicked wings. Gravesend. Actually, wicked wings is really good. I don't know. You got wicked wings around here?
No, it's only a single shop.
Oh my God! No way.
How?
You see Pepe's. This
Yeah.
is wicked. They do what
There's
flavors?
Wingstop.
Yeah,
There's-
Wingstop, but the thing is...
No, it's not like Wingstop, no.
Their type of wings is a bit different.
They've got like loads of different coating sauces, flavors, and everything. I'm telling you, they're delish.
Where is that?
It's in Gravesend, Northfleet. It's really nice. I would eat those
dear.
wings. I don't eat wings. I don't. Anytime they order, I never touch the wings, but those wings I eat because the way they flavored them and they're just really
It's different.
nice.
It's the owners that create...
Yeah, shout out to Wicked Wings in Northfleet. Yeah,
There
they're
you
good
go.
kids actually that own it. Yeah.
Bloody hell, I'm going to start charging this right now.
Oh,
Anyway, moving forward to marriage, culture, and control.
Yes.
Right. In our culture, cousin marriages are still normalized, even encouraged.
I can't believe it.
Do you think it's tradition, religion, or just convenience?
I think it's tradition, and I do think it's a little bit of convenience because it's easy because you know the family, you know the background, you know everything. But I do think it's sensible for you not to tread there if you can help it.
It's sensible not to tread.
No, don't go there. I've seen it. It's not likely the modern generation British child in the UK for the British child to marry a British first cousin. You won't do it because you recognise your cousins as family, right? You see them all the time here. Let's say you've got a cousin that lives far away. I think there's less British kids that would do it. But when they're bringing them in from abroad, you probably just don't relate to them as cousins as much because you've never met them. You never knew them.
Yeah.
So, but irrelevant of that, I know that if my understanding is in Islam that the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ said to marry from another tribe, to join the tribes together. This whole, I'm going to say the word because my head's a bit dizzy today and I
go
feel
for it.
tired. It's going to
Go
make
for it.
excuses. The whole inbreeding business that goes on. All right, medically, it is true that it can cause deformities, right? I have seen it happen. But at the same time, I've seen many successful cousin marriages as well. However, I would say go second or third or fourth cousin or something if you really want to. But that first cousin, I think that's the debate, isn't it? Really about the whole first cousin marriage, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, it's
I married my first cousin,
okay.
first time round.
Right, okay.
It didn't bother me. I didn't know him. He was from Pakistan. It was a bit, I didn't even understand. I was just way too young for it, you know. Like she's my pawpaw and, you know, and then like, he's my husband, but they're my cousins.
But see, the thing is, like, if you've never, I get it. If you've never met that person,
Yeah.
it's different. You don't
I'm
know.
just trying to understand if I had met him before.
Once or twice, it doesn't matter, does it?
No, I'm just thinking like, I just don't. I know I did it once. I was very young. I followed what my parents said. And then I'm thinking about other cousins now as I do know them a little bit. Obviously not a lot. I'm thinking about Pakistan again. And would I or could I ever? No. And would my first cousin... Yeah, no. Would I do it again? No. They're family. I see it as family. I just can't see it. Myself, I can't see it as that anymore. And I just don't think... It also creates a stir. I'll tell you for why. I spoke to somebody recently where, stupidly, in this day and age, 2 sisters were married to 2 brothers.
Right.
Yeah? Cousins again. They're British, they're Pakistani.
Happens. Yeah.
A lot. You know, and then this is just a bribery tool. You know, why the hell would you do that? Why would you do that to your children anyway?
Do you think it's lazy parenting? Because it's like, oh, you married. Oh, why do
Look, I think it's certain societies that do it. I don't think it's all societies that do it. And I think it's the certain societies that do it that don't value their daughters, if you ask me. I don't know. I could be.
But what about one daughter's got married in this house and the second daughter's like, oh, his brother's quite good looking.
Quite all right,
yeah, cool. Yeah,
That's
cool.
fine. That's through choice.
Fine.
I think there has to be an element of choice and maturity to make the decision, but don't force them to do things.
Yeah. See, I don't get this forcing.
Is that not forcing?
Thing. Yeah, I don't get this forcing thing in this day and age.
Oh,
And
I've
it still
seen
happens.
it. It still happens. I think it's disgusting that, you know, they're not giving the female the value of what she should have. And a lot of people think that these Arab countries have oppressed females and whatnot. Actually, they're probably the least oppressed. I think South Asian is the worst. The worst
Really?
when it comes to valuing females, really. I've seen it in today's society in certain groups, not all. When we grew up, for example, now in my household, brothers and sisters, I didn't know any other way, but I've seen other families that do it differently. And I think it's just culture that's rubbed in.
Mm-hmm.
That's not our culture.
Yep.
Like my family's culture was we would all help with food and prep and shopping and whatnot for the dinner, right?
Like proper females, yeah.
Yeah, like we would all help together. You know, the men did the bins, yeah, and then
Well, they're not doing a good job in Birmingham at the moment. I'll tell you that now.
Oh yeah, I've heard of it. I've seen your bins.
Come on, lads.
Yeah, and then we would all sit and eat together, or you would serve the children first, and
Yeah.
then the adults would eat. But what I'm seeing is that the fellas get served, and then the males in the family who are even younger than the females, and the older females are serving the younger lads because all the men are getting served first, and the females are second with the children. Anyway, what?
What's so bad about that? See, now if a man's gone out,
Yeah,
those group of men, right, gone out to provide, help, protect.
yeah.
What's wrong with them eating
What
first?
do you think she's been doing all day?
She's been prepping for the man to eat.
For everybody to eat.
It's not just.
There's not one woman there. There's about 10 women there.
Yeah, of course.
If
So
what got 10 women serving one man?
No, I'm talking about 10 women serving a table.
Let's say you have a collection, a group of people, but even not just the group of people. Coming back to what you were saying previously, where he goes out to earn the bread, so he should come back and be the king of the house, and she's going to serve, right?
Yeah. What's wrong with that?
Yeah, what's wrong with that?
What's wrong with that?
Well, the fact, what's she been doing all day?
She's been waiting for him to come home so she can serve him.
She'll serve him if she loves him.
Huh?
Otherwise, she'll tell him to do it himself. And she's only
Is
going to
that
love
what
him
it is? I
if
think
he,
that's what
if
my
he
wife
loves her. if he loves her.
She says, go back to the shop and just eat there. No, my
Yeah.
wife's all right, man. My
Nice
wife's good,
one.
man.
No, I mean, you know, like it has to be both people have got responsibilities throughout the day. You've got your
Yes.
job. She's got. I actually enjoyed going to work. You know that. I used to love it.
Well,
Why? Because I got to sit down, have a nice cup of tea. That responsibility of being at home with your rugrats and serving them and then cleaning and washing and all that and repeat.
She's talking about you, mate.
You repeating
Rugrat.
that same thing every single day can be tedious and just draining. So when you come home from work and you actually showed compassion and supported, she's going to love you more.
okay, let me tell you one thing, right? Well, let's take the shoe on the opposite side.
Okay.
Now the girls come home.
Yep.
Right, she's the breadwinner.
Yep.
The man's a
Yep.
house husband.
Yep.
Now, if he doesn't feed her,
Yep.
how would a woman react to that?
She'd be like, "What have you been doing all day?"
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Right,
What have you
moving
been
on.
doing all day?
Yeah, you
Sitting
know what I
there
mean?
watching telly, doing nothing. House is a tip. Washing's not been done. Food's like what you call this. That sounds like a man, right? But what happen is a woman is better at domestics and better at organising and better as a fact anyway, right? And looking after the
In your
whole of
opinion.
the home. Men aren't as good at doing that. But if she came home and dinner wasn't on the table, by right, she should say, at least have one meal prep. I think I agree with you 100%. If you come home and your missus hasn't put a nice meal on the table to thank you for what you've just done, right, then there's something wrong.
Thank you very much for watching this. This is all I wanted from this podcast. That's it.
You got problems at home, mate. Is that what it is? He's just like, Syra said it now. You got to listen. No, I agree. Like I would value that man. I would value that man, but equally, he will have to value her after he's had his nice sit-down dinner, or when he comes home, he makes sure that they both together finish off what she started together, and they get to all sit down and eat together, because you working all day and want to sit and eat your dinner in peace, so does she. And she's not been doing nothing all day. Let's say she has. Let's say you were the kind of man that could afford to get her a maid to do things, right?
Maybe I am, but yeah. She doesn't know that yet.
Yeah, get a maid to do the cooking and the cleaning, so that she can remain purified and beautiful for you, because fellas like beauty, they do, right? So she's looked after herself for you all day. So now there's your dinner. Then you both eat dinner together and you enjoy each other's company. That's bliss, right?
That's bliss, and that's finance.
So what ruins it? Society ruins it. The demand, the financial pressures, the financial burdens, and that's what breaks marriages. So ultimately, it's shaitan, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, what about mixed race marriages?
Don't
Still a
mind
big
that.
taboo?
Don't mind that.
Well, it's still a big taboo in many households. Of course it is. Do you think it's about culture or
I think we're
deep-rooted
moving on.
racism? Is it
Racism exists in everything, whether you're brown, because it will be the racism within on the states, you know, the
castes and all of that,
where you can't marry that person because of that, you know. No, I think we've moved on. Generations have moved on.
I don't think so, you know.
I've seen plenty.
I don't think so, because I think there's still that we say we've moved on, we're open-minded, but when it hits home,
look, we're Muslim,
it's
right?
like,
So fundamentally, as long as that person is Muslim, then you're good.
That's fine. That's great, you know. But let's talk general.
Yeah.
Right. Not every family looks at it that way. You bring he brings a black woman home or a white woman home, or your son, right? They'll be like, what the heck?
I think
Couldn't
it's
you find
as
like
a person
Pakistani
and your
guy or
education
something?
level and your open-mindedness level and your lived level. Like some people don't go beyond, you know.
Pakistan.
Well, I'm in Birmingham at the moment, so you know, they don't go beyond Small Heath or wherever you call. What's that road called? The Citizen Khan one. Spark Hill.
Yeah.
Don't go beyond Spark Hill, right? So if they don't go beyond that, you know, then they go on holiday, but their holidaying extent is just, you know, resorts. So unless you get out there, you live, you mix, you're never ever going to open your mind and diversify yourself. I don't disagree with it. I know I did in the beginning. I was thinking, like my daughter, she married a say Bhutan, right? So
But that's
and the
Bhutan,
family.
that's fine.
No, what I'm
because
saying
they're
is
from
the
Pakistan,
Pakistanis, Bhutans, and we went around the in-laws' house, gelled straight away, mental, intellectual, physical standards, all of it blends straight away. And then my son, he married an English girl, and when my daughter married, obviously the Pakistani that fits him, I was like, yeah, you know what? We really should marry Pakistanis, because you're not Pakistanis. It has to be your caste as well. I think there's a big conversation that needs to be had around that one from experience. But I thought that was the case. But actually, my daughter-in-law is a dream. And she's not Pakistani. So, you know, whoever they bring home, I'm going to be happy that they're happy and that they love each other, because I think that does matter a lot more than everything else.
You know, absolutely, you know.
Because you just leave them alone and let them be happy.
Have you ever, or should parents have a say in who their kids get married? Because, you know,
I think yes.
A lot of the time.
No, I've said to my kids, there's a lot of things you've got to take into consideration, because marriage is not all about what Instagram tells you. Marriage is about a lot of things. Those genes you're going to pass on, right? You are both going to create a child, right? So think about what it is you're going to be doing to that child. So if the genes are genetics matter, right? It's I mean, it sounds so pathetically stupid.
That's very,
it does.
very deep.
I mean, I know that's deep, but you know what? I said you've got to think about what you're going to do to ease your life, make your life easier. So if you're both, it's really like it's call it a programming of sort. It's really hard, isn't it? Because really, if you think about Islamically, those souls have already connected.
Yeah.
Allah's the plan.
Yeah.
When you think of it from a spiritual level, you're going to think differently. When you think of it at a hardcore level like me, because I've been married twice already, I'm going to be like, make sure he's this, make sure she's that, make sure you
But isn't that
deflect.
But that's
you
are
project.
saying
I'm
are saying
projecting
from
my
your
own.
experience
Yes,
now. Yeah, exactly.
which is the worst thing to
isn't that
do.
like, isn't that
Yeah.
like emotional blackmail as well? Like make sure
It's not
you don't want to
intentional,
be like
but you
this.
project your own feelings unintentionally based on your own experiences, and I think that's where the problems come in. But you still have to get involved in saying that. It's hard though, isn't it?
Guidance.
Like this is a question. You're married, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So how did you choose your partner?
I got introduced with my cousin. She was my cousin's friend. We got introduced. We went out and we kind of got to.
How old were you?
Oh, I recently got married 6 years ago.
How old are you now?
40.
Flipping heck, mate. What have you been doing up until then, eh?
Chilling.
That's old.
Anyways, moving on. We shall see you after the break. No, it's just work and this, that, the other. But finding the right one.
But that didn't take 34.
Yeah.
So at 34, you're a lot wiser, a lot more astute. Like if you go back to your 22, would you have been able to make the right decision?
That's why I never got married. God knew the plan better than I did.
Yeah, but I mean, if you'd have chosen at 22,
I don't know. I would have probably made the biggest mistake of my life. I don't know. That's why it never happened.
Look, there's nothing wrong with getting married to somebody.
I always encourage get married early.
Young. Yes.
Yeah. You grow up with your children.
Yeah.
You can do your thing, and it's just a lot more you can do. Whereas now,
but let's just say that you ended up marrying somebody that was completely wrong for you, and you're not compatible.
36 at 34.
No, in your 20s.
In 20s, yeah, you can let go.
Yeah.
You've still got time.
I think the taboo and the stigma attached with divorce needs to do one, because I met many women in Malaysia who'd been married 4 times, because the first one, they walked out of it. And I think there's too many women who stay in the unhappy marriage.
Even Islamically, you're allowed to move.
Of course you are.
Out.
That's what I'm saying.
So
you're allowed to.
So that's the thing. There's a lot of cultural problems than Islamic problems.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, Islamically, there are no problems.
No. Obviously, you've got to do your best and work hard at it, because it's going to cause problems with the children. But we don't do anything. Nobody does anything really that right these days, do they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that is a big problem, because people, for example, somebody gets divorced, that's it.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, how can you get married to a divorcee?
Yeah.
Oh, no. Why
I think people are changing their mindsets about it now. New generations. Yeah.
And I think that's a big problem, because then who would marry them then?
There's always somebody for somebody.
No, there is, but it's...
And worst case scenario, you go back home because they want your passport, right? But,
again, she's talking from experience.
Reflecting.
This is not
Projecting.
This is not a therapy session. This is not a therapy session.
Oh, we forgot about the therapy section, I'm telling you that people need to go and get therapy. Everybody does.
Right, go on.
Everyone does, especially because, especially this us Asians, everyone needs it. Because what you don't realise, you fall into, especially the females, because we grew up in a similar sort of, you're 40 now, so you're not that much younger than I am. But the confusion in the UK, because you're the British culture and you got the Asian culture. We're trying to merge the two, and then you're bashing at the bit in between, the kid in between for, and the difficulties that they end up, because parents don't know how to parent, or they're bringing over parenting like those slaps, and you can't do this because cultures come in. So much nonsense that really means you lose your identity, you lose who you are, and lots of damage gets done in the process. And I'm having it's trauma therapy, but you don't know what it is. Actually, don't realize what it is that was the trauma that caused you to do and make the wrong decisions. Now, realistically, when I got married the second time, I was 24, 22, 23, 24, 24, 24. I think I was 24,
I don't know.
25, something like that. I can't remember. 2000, yeah. 25. 25. Oh, yeah.
Okay, you were 25.
24. Yeah, I was
24.
24. I was
Okay.
24. I was right the first time. Yeah, I was 24, and if it wasn't for the fact that my self-esteem was low, I would have thought it through. And if it wasn't for the fact that, I mean, my mum thought it was a good idea, but she was going through her own demons, call it. So she thought that it was a good thing to do. And if I had my head screwed on at that time, at 24, really, I should have done. But I wasn't. I was emotionally driven. I was driven by low self-esteem, self-worth. I would have at that time gone, no, forget that. And it's only now going through this trauma therapy to recognize where the self-esteem, self-worth went down. Because after that, it was just survival mode. The whole of the last 22 years has been survival mode. Just accepting, carrying on, having kids, running. I always felt like I was running all the time. And I had to keep going. So now having had this, really beneficial, and she's actually a Muslim lady who relates to a lot, and she said it's a lot of Asian women who are going through the same thing, and it's now like ideally they want to get the therapy or understand themselves and the positions and decisions and actions and behaviors, because all of those things will result in a pattern that will repeat itself, as in those women will end up being divorced, single at 50.
Wow.
Guaranteed. Because of what has occurred that needs to be undone so that they can just be and be happy and not feel like they have to have control. A lot of them, it's because they need control. So, yeah, that's going deep. But trauma therapy is good. I agree with it.
So is that you are currently going through?
They have deep diving sessions where she goes over your life. And then what she'll do, she'll get to the end of it and she'll go, so let's just say my recent one, something occurred in my life when I was a child and that stayed with me. And really funny thing is you hold trauma in certain parts of your body. I know this sounds crazy, but I held it in my knee. And there was a reason for it, she explained. So... And what she does is she'll take you you visualize. It's almost like a mild form of hypnosis, but it's not hypnosis. So you shut your eyes. She takes you back to that child. She takes you back to the moment of that trauma that has impacted you now. And then she tells you, as the adult Syra, to go to the 6-year-old Syra and to comfort her and
Nourish
do whatever, and then now take her with you and make her happy. And one of the scenes that she set for me, which is phenomenal, is say the second thing that impacted my behaviors and survival mode. She took me out of that and she put me into, you got to go put a dress on, what color dress you're going to have, what color shoes you're going to have. Right now you're going to go from there and you're going to go to your house now. And so now all I don't see that anymore. I see that. And it's phenomenal the way that it rewires your brain. So now my behavior, everything, so many things, you start to see yourself being different. It's really phenomenal. I think it's great.
So why was your trauma in your knees?
Why? Because what happened to me when I was 6.
Did you fall over?
No, but I won't go into detail on that one. It was trauma. It's not a fallover. Fallover is not trauma.
Well, I'm just saying, you just probably hurt yourself.
I didn't even know because she was doing something. She said, I want you to stand up and I'm going to ask you something and you're going to repeat it. And what happens is, and this is crazy because I don't know how it works. We don't understand things. We think they're crazy. But your body's going to lean, your body's energy. So you say something and then your body's going to lean forward or it's going to lean back. And sometimes you think that you're doing it with your brain, but you're not. You've got to listen to your heart. And I was like checking the carpet, rubbing my feet and going, I'm going to level myself up. But you lean forward. When it's a yes and when it's a no, you lean back. And it works. And then I was wobbling. She goes to me, and I didn't realise. I was wobbling a little bit. She's going, you're wobbling. Where's the wobble coming from?
From my knees.
And I said, from my knees. She goes, that's where you're holding it. And then actually it made sense. It actually made sense. As in the situation that I was in, the position I was in meant that it's knee without giving out too much.
Wow.
Yeah, it's really good.
We had a guest, who does hypnosis.
Okay.
Adam, his name's from Harley Street in London.
Right.
And he was talking about all of this, and I was just like, wow, that's just amazing.
It does work.
It goes, we had a client who loved chocolate.
Yeah.
Like, and she just loved chocolate and she wanted to come off it. So we did a few sessions with her, and now she hates chocolate.
It's phenomenal.
Because we kind of attached the things that she didn't like with the image of chocolate, and we kind of mixed it together. And now every time she thinks of chocolate, she thinks of the things that she doesn't like.
Yeah.
Mixed in with chocolate, and she's like really hates
Some people you can. I mean, that's no. It's not even. That's not even a deep hypnosis.
I mean, that's just like. He gave us an example. I'm sure
just,
this
look, sometimes what they do, they take things out of your thoughts and help you with you visualize almost like something has occurred, and you can benefit from it.
Yeah. I wanted to talk about the hijab, modesty, and gender bias, right?
Gender bias?
Yeah, and modesty is always drilled into girls, right? Growing up. Cover up, act a certain way. But men don't get half of that pressure. Why is that?
I've not experienced it when I was growing up. My mother never did. She didn't. She said, my mum went to a Christian school in Pakistan. She said, when we came to the UK, and my dad was the same as well, they said, like, you can wear a skirt as long as it's over the knee. Because they saw that as respectable. Where and how these thoughts came into their head, you never know, right? I only came in, my older sister came into hijab when she went to university. And education obviously increased as we were starting to get more into tech world, and we were able to digital, you can see your phone and you learn more, the knowledge increases, compared to the old masjid and, the old imams and the new ones, right? So they're all evolving. So it wasn't something that was pushed on us. And I definitely think it's not good to push on. Like, my daughter wore a hijab. I didn't wear a hijab. But my daughter wore it because she grew up predominantly. Nani was helping, right? So Nani's wearing a hijab, and Hannah wants to wear a hijab. And she did from primary school, young age. She chose to, and she liked it. And then she came out of it for a bit. And then she went back into it, So I don't think forcing children is the worst thing you can do. Because they'll learn to hate it. Yeah. I did it because I wanted to do it, and for my own reasons.
When did you start?
2 years ago.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah, prior to that I didn't. I was like going through my social media, going, oh shit, that one's out again still. Let's delete that one. Because you don't want them. You do and you don't. Because I really want people to see my journey, but then at the same time, it's like.
What do you think about people or women that wore the hijab?
Yep. And then stop wearing it.
And then stop wearing it and then think that it's empowerment. That really gets to me.
Empowerment?
Like, no, they fit into the society.
Okay, so no, I don't think badly of anyone that regresses, let's call it that. But I don't think badly of anyone that does wear it either.
And the worst thing is, after that they've done that, then they start quoting hadiths and this, you think, okay, calm down, sister. Hold on.
I mean, there's lots of new things that are coming out now, right, about X, Y, Z. I don't think that it is. Obviously, you've got people that are really on the deen and probably, I could say, extreme. That yes, it is a farz. apparently, I don't know if it is, to be fair, that a woman wears hijab covering. There's also something that I read that says a woman that's no longer childbearing age doesn't have to cover, but every part of Islam should never be taken for like this bit and then this bit and this bit, because
then you got to look at the whole thing.
I just think you got to look at the whole thing and let people find their own way and produce information of knowledge.
Look, when you try and find, like, we know that Islam is a complete religion.
Yeah.
Right? It's a complete religion.
Yep.
Every aspect.
But nobody does it to perfection anyway.
No, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Now, that's besides the point. Okay?
Right.
So now we have a complete religion.
Yeah.
Every aspect of life is explained through our prophet or other prophets, and it's in the Quran and Hadith, and fine, it's done. So what exactly information are you going to look for now, or are you going to make your own up? When they say cover up, do this, X, Y, and Z, this is how your hijab should be, done, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So what is there, even for men now, not just women, for men, you can do X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
But they do.
Lose a fade.
Because we're not perfect.
Ankles
I'm not saying now.
Fade is alright.
No.
Fade ain't.
It's not.
Is
not.
it?
No,
it's not.
This one.
No, it's not.
No, it's not.
See, this is the trouble. You're going to have a debate of,
Look, it's not, right? You can't have fades. No, you can't.
I've listened to it.
Who?
I've listened to it.
I like your fade, bro.
Doesn't make any difference. I've had fades.
Look, but the question is, right? What was the question? I forgot now.
Modesty, hijab.
So the question is like,
fellas,
what exactly are you? People say, "I find my own path," but there is no path.
I think we're getting to the end of times now. Anyway, going to have to close in and say to yourself, reality means we'd all actually really have to move out, wouldn't we? Really,
which is, if you can't fight them, you
know what to, as a baseline. Realistically, what is halal and what is haram.
Yeah, and we still choose to live here because we are comfortable.
Yeah,
right?
We like it.
We're comfortable.
The passport's great. The country's great.
Yeah, and
you can still adapt. I mean, I have to say, they're very accommodating to us Muslims here.
They are.
They are very good to us.
Because we pay a lot of tax, right?
Well, I think it's not just that though. I think they are generally quite accommodating. And you've got the politicians, and there's always going to be propaganda. There's always going to be news they want to make. But the people in general,
95% of people get on. That's
nice,
great,
yeah.
right?
That's fine. We do Eid, and it's still not a public holiday yet, though. I think they should do that.
Again, my question is, when people say, I want to find my own path.
Yep.
That's where I always kind of think, like, the path is given to you, just follow it. What are you trying to find? Right? Okay, if you've come off the hijab or whatever.
But life is such a turbulent journey.
No, but if you've come off the hijab, fine, that's your problem. But now you don't kind of lecture people about these and the Prophet said this, the Prophet said that. Yeah, the Prophet said, don't do X, Y, and Z.
No, but you know what it is they're trying to justify it because everything is about people, isn't it? People is always about pleasing society. Everything is always about pleasing society. What you got to do is go on social media, let a few of the haram police hammer you tons, and then grow a thick skin and sod society and start living your life for yourself, right? Your journey is yours, irrelevant of what everybody has to say, because everybody's a chief these days. Less Indians, more chiefs. Everybody's the boss.
It is.
Everybody's knowledgeable.
That is, unfortunately, that is the society.
And this is why I say we need to rewind the whole bloody thing and take everybody back down to just being kind and nice. That's it. Be nice to one another. Actually, that'll probably get you more chance of you getting into heaven than having a beard or a hijab. Because Allah said,
tomorrow
be kind to
the barbers, mate.
my creation.
Syra said you don't need a beard to go into heaven. So,
I'm just saying that, I wear my hijab to identify as a Muslim.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then it helps me because
again, another thing is you cover the hair, and then you've got everything else exposed.
I think I look more beautiful with a hijab than I did without.
No, I'm sure you do.
And many
I mean,
people say the same thing. So if I was hiding my beauty, and you know what, as a hijab, you attract different men. Without a hijab, you attract some men, and then when you wear a hijab, you attract a different caliber of men. It's just what you trying to do. Detract from looking beautiful and getting somebody attracted to you.
Then why are you doing it right? Then you need to define why you're doing it right. So if you're doing it for Allah, then
You're doing it for the fact that I did it because I wanted to identify
as a Muslim, which
as
is
a
fine.
Muslim. Also because I wanted to be able to go drop, pray, done.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I'm all about. I'm just all about
Drop, pray, dead.
time management, right? I don't want to have to faff around and find myself something. Also, because I want to present myself in the best way possible when I am standing in front of Allah. That's it. You know, it's very important to me. So that's why I wear what I wear. But as I've started to wear it, I realised different things in that it is like the way you get treated because you are wearing. People think you know everything about Islam as well, and if you say something wrong, then you get hammered for it. Because like, she's a hijabi. What the hell is a hijabi? You know what I mean? I wear a scarf because it matches my trousers or something. You know.
No, which is that. Look, that's fine. That's great.
Yeah.
You know, everyone likes us. You know, everyone's
But there's a
accountable
lot of
for
things
their
that come
own.
with it, and it is very. I love it.
It is.
I love
is.
it.
Like
Yeah.
everyone is accountable for
Very
their
beautiful,
own.
very pretty. Puts you in your feminine energy. Have to say, you know, like jeans and a hoodie doesn't necessarily put you there. But the man puts you in your feminine energy as well. If you've got a good husband and he puts you there, then you will. So,
Yeah, but what about the women that or the sisters who wear the hijab, but then again don't cover themselves up appropriately? You know, they're still like skinny jeans and whatnot, and you think, okay, I think you're missing the point here.
but I don't think it's anybody's position to say so.
No, I'm not.
Like
I
in
couldn't care
Malaysia, when I
less.
was in Malaysia, right, the girls had their jeans on, a shirt, hijab, short sleeves, working in wherever they were working, right? So
But doesn't
anyone
that
looking
just
at that,
define the purpose? Then it's like
no, because you're judging.
no, you're not judging because you're just thinking what they. What
No, you are
there.
judging because you're saying that it should be this way and what you're doing is wrong. So
No.
you're immediately judging.
No. But if you know something that how it should be done, now everyone knows how it should be done.
How should it be done?
Covered, the whole body should be covered.
But you
modestly?
just cannot achieve that. Look, I
Why
can
not?
tell you as an abaya wearer, you do still not even an abaya, you don't achieve it. If you're walking, the wind's blowing, you know.
Oh,
Do you know what I mean?
That's just different now, right?
Right.
But obviously you're not.
You're still
in.
not always going to achieve it. I mean, you've got different body shapes. Some people are bigger, more voluptuous, and even a freaking tent ain't going to hide what she's got. Do you know what I mean? It ain't.
But that's besides the point. The
then-
wind hitting, that's just going into like silly
No,
stuff.
what I'm saying
right?
is they have to say you have to correct yourselves first, okay?
Oh, of
Male
course.
and female.
Male.
You look twice. Your job is not to look. Don't look.
But I'm at a shop now. I'm ordering.
Yeah,
I'm ordering food. I need my half a chicken.
yeah.
Right, and now you're there with the hijab on, and
Yeah, but
and
what's it
she's
got to
got
do
the
with you?
chicken, man.
Yeah, but what's it got to do with you?
No, that's besides the point. I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
We can't all become muftis and alims and all that overnight. You just order your chicken, mind your own business, and go home, right?
Look,
you know,
see-
if you're looking at her and you're attracted to her, then look once and don't look twice, and it's not a sin. Simple.
I'm not
Simplify
saying
your
that.
life.
I'm making sure that the sisters doesn't go to hell.
You don't need to make sure though. Who are you?
Blood.
Who are you to
I'm
her?
just reminding her.
You're not her, like,
sister,
you're not her husband.
Because tomorrow,
Yeah.
on the day of judgment,
She
she's
might
gonna say,
not go.
"Why didn't you tell me?"
Nobody's going to count you for it. You're going to be accountable for your own actions, mate. So that's where it boils back.
See what I
Count
mean?
for your.
See-
If you account
Now
for
we're getting
yourself,
there, now
you'll
we're
be
getting
fine. You start digging into every other person.
I'm
you'll
not-
soon,
I'm not digging into
No, I'm
anyone.
just saying
I
you'll
couldn't
start
care
losing
less.
your own direction.
I couldn't
Yeah.
care less, honestly. But I'm just saying,
No,
when
no, I
there's
know,
something,
I know. This is the
when
debate.
people
This is the
say-
debate.
When people say, "I'm finding my own journey," the journey's there. You don't need to look for it. Why are you making something up and you're gonna mess it up on the way when you can just follow it? Just follow. This is how you do this. This is how
But
you
you
do
know,
it.
you
For
could
men
argue the
and
same.
women.
I
For
was
men,
different. I was
for
different
men
until
and
2
women.
years
I'm
ago.
not just saying women.
No, I get you.
You know, I always say Muslims in this day and age are not perfect. If you want to
Nobody
see
is
what is
perfect.
perfect, then
Nobody
you have
was
to read
perfect.
the book.
Prophets made mistakes. Nobody was perfect.
So if you want to see what perfection is, then read the book.
Yep.
Don't read humans.
No, yeah, you can read the book, but what if somebody that reads the book, have we even got anyone to this in this day and like to this point who can literally translate the Quran to perfection, as in
Translation is never perfect.
You're going to get a translation of language.
Can we
let's
try
say.
say translation quickly?
Look, there's-
because when you say translation,
But you know what I mean? Like there's
there's
at
a
this
lot of
different.
trans situation going on in this day and age. Let's say translation quickly.
I don't mind trans either. It's fine. They can all.
Eee,
We can all be friends. We can all be friends. We can all be happy. Do what you want to do. It doesn't bother me.
Yeah, just don't come near.
I don't care. No, I don't care if it's female, whatever.
Nah,
do what you want to do. It's not. I'm going to be the best person that I can be,
Yeah, absolutely.
and I will not ever say to anybody about how they are. But what I'll do is I'll make myself to
Okay.
a role model that other people want to
be
like.
like.
Yeah.
No,
Ooh, yeah.
absolutely, that's great. But don't you think, if for example, let me give you, I'll put up a video about this.
Yeah.
You know, trans people
Yep.
who want to be men and
He
men
really
and
wanted to
women
talk
and
about
women.
this, yeah, right, yeah.
And don't you think that they're not the problem? But
You're not trying to justify something here, are you?
No.
No, okay.
no, not
Yeah.
at all. I'm against it anyway. So, and plus
You're
recently,
so say it slowly again.
recently,
You're a gay.
I am
Aga-
against trans.
Oh, against.
Yeah.
You're against.
Yep. Yeah,
Oh.
fully. So even recently now, I think was it last week or last few days, the courts said trans women are not women. So
Okay, biologically fact.
fantastic.
That's a biological
but-
fact.
Okay. Where was I?
You're against trans.
Well, the question. I forgot the question now.
We're talking about Islam, and we kind of like it was on Islam.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
So I made a video about this and saying, look, it's not the people, the trans people that I have a problem with. It's the people that accept the trans people for who they are or who they want to be. Now, if this was never accepted,
Oh, that'd be me then.
You.
Yeah.
So if you never accepted people,
Yeah.
if for example a man wanting to be a female, tomorrow
Yeah.
he's going to want to use a female toilet.
Yeah.
So if you never accepted as a general society, a population never accepted this agenda, we wouldn't be in this situation now, right? Because tomorrow, because everyone has accepted this agenda, because they wanted to be kind and didn't want to hurt people's feelings, that person's now using the same toilet as your daughter. So isn't that the problem of accepting anything and everything because you don't want to be hurt somebody, and then reality you are going away from the facts?
In the Quran, it does say about a being that Allah created that was different. And you and I both
What?
know. Yeah. What about eunuchs?
So the people of Lut, why
People
did
of
they?
Lut, no, they
Why
were.
did they
that
get
was their own
abolished?
sexual pleasures that they wanted.
Well, what the hell is this then? This
no,
is just changing
people
the whole
that are
thing.
genetically born
it's the same
differently.
thing.
What's a eunuch?
I don't know. I never heard of it before
Right.
because I don't want to
Okay,
know.
well, you're from Pakistan,
Yes.
right?
Oh, you mean the
whereabouts are you from Pakistan?
the small head ones?
No, what are you?
They the,
whereabouts
rat
are you from in
child.
Pakistan?
Rawalpindi.
Rawalpindi. You know what kusra is,
Yes.
right? What is a kusra?
They turn up on the weddings and that.
Yeah. So what is a
They're
kusra?
sick, bro.
Yeah. What's a
Cheap and
kusra?
cheerful.
What's a kusra though? Do you know?
Yeah, that's just all this nonsense, isn't it?
Eunuch.
Yeah.
No, it's not nonsense. They are born differently.
Right. Okay.
They're
Tell me
actually
more.
physically born differently. Whether it's mental, hormonal, physical, not just genetics, their actual physical form is different. And there is something in the Quran that talks about, and I might be wrong with this, you can correct me if you like, but I'm pretty sure there's something in the Quran that says
No,
that Allah has made.
we'll find out. Yeah, that's
Do
fine.
find out, because I'm sure there is something about it. That
This
says
is
that
educational.
Allah
Now. We're not
made
taking the mick
them
or anything.
differently, and that we must treat them with kindness.
Put your
And
mic
that-
close just in case you don't want to
I've
miss
got
this.
a fat voice, mate. Trust me, it projects like this will be bad. You don't want me to come this close because I'd have to speak really quietly. But some people like this tone. They say it's soothing.
Right, eunuch, what?
Eunuch.
A
EU.
eunuch. Eunuch.
EU. There's another bit of science behind that as well, and where and how these eunuchs came about. But then, I mean, there's lots of information. All I know is that when somebody is different,
Look, if you were born different, that's an exception. But if
the people
Zishan
of Lut
here-
chose to
if Zishan here
as a
chose
sexual
tomorrow
preference.
yeah. So if he chooses to be a female tomorrow,
Yeah.
right? He's absolutely normal. There's nothing wrong with him.
Yeah.
34 years of normality. Tomorrow he's like, I want to be a female. I want to
Okay.
do trans.
All right then.
How can I accept that? I can't be like, yeah, bro, that's good. Just because I don't want to hurt him. That's my problem. It's accepting everything rather than say, bro, are you feeling okay?
Everything has reasoning behind it.
Oi, what's your reasoning?
You know, and it could be
What's your
there's
reason,
something
bro?
going on. I mean, I haven't explored it enough, but all I can say is that when I was growing up, from the age of 17, I had gay friends, I had trans friends.
Back then.
Yep. And actually they were my bestest friends. And my mother, I've done a TikTok on this. My mother lives next door
Your
to
son's absolutely like, what?
somebody,
I didn't
and
know about this.
my mother's the same as well. She doesn't care. He's kind to her. She's kind to him. What he does is his business. She ain't out to try and convince him that he needs to get married and have kids and live a life. I think you just have to leave people alone. And, you know,
See, I disagree. I mean, like it says, if
if
you're
you-
born with
There are people- I know-
Fine, that's understandable. Like, you know, mental health.
if it was a
disability,
preference,
whatever.
yeah,
Fine.
that's different.
That's different. I
Yeah.
totally respect that.
And I think the thing is, trouble is society's changed a lot, and I just there's so much going on that it's just easier not to get involved with it anymore, and to do a like public everybody get together and now go against something. It can open up doorways to people being collectively against something else, like religion, let's say. So that's why I think leave everyone alone is the best way.
It is. It
Look,
is.
Leave everyone alone. Focus on doing this, delivering information and knowledge. Like if there's a guy and he feels like a gal, right? It could be that he's got too much estrogen going on in his body. And that we can educate them by saying that, you know, everybody needs to go and have a blood test, go and test where your hormone levels are at, and that, you know, everything's in balance. Just educate.
Yeah.
I don't think that could be something, but at the same time, there can be full-on physical, but it doesn't have to be. I mean, I know some of these ladies that, you know, are a couple, and they're just quite happy with being with a female and not a man.
Now, on that note.
I don't care.
On that note.
I don't care.
Yeah, no. As
Live
long
and
as
let live.
see, the problem with this agenda is right. They're
The whole
pushing
world
it,
has gone,
They're
yeah.
pushing it down your throat. Like they
No, they are,
want
they
you
are,
to
they
accept
are,
it. Like
they are.
I don't want to accept
I
it. I
disagree
don't want
with
my
them
children.
teaching my children at school
Exactly.
that they are, you know, they can.
There's a lot of stuff in games nowadays, for example.
Yeah,
like Roblox.
I do disagree with that.
Roads, all these TV series.
They're
have,
pushing it too far. They're
It's like-
experimenting and they're screwing everything up because they want to confuse a generation out of religion, out of identity, because that means the agenda being they can control you better because you are weaker. Why do you think that they don't like religion? Religion gives you an inner strength.
Yeah.
So that's the purpose
sense,
behind everything
yeah.
that's happening and they're doing. It was never a thing before. You'd have it obviously went on and maybe less, but now they're pumping it. They're pumping it more because it will disturb and, you know.
On that note.
On
It's
that note, it's
been
been fabulously fun and we've really enjoyed it,
has,
and I'm really
it has.
tired.
It has been very much fun. I'm glad you came. You gave us 2 hours. I was
know, I
not
can't believe it.
expecting 2 hours.
We'd have to
But-
split it up into loads of...
1 hour on the phone.
We did, didn't we?
Yeah, it's all right.
Yeah.
Wow.
I know, we were supposed to be going to dinner.